So binomial pairs are a really nice way to make your English sound much more fluent, and actually we use them all the time. So these are the list of words that we talked about at the start of class. Fish and chips, salt and pepper, black and white, now and then. So we can hear that there's a stress pattern, right? Fish and chips, fish and chips. It might sound quite subtle, but the first syllable has a weak stress. The and is incredibly weak, and the chips is quite strong. I would organize it like this. Fish and chips, fish and chips. Let's listen to the and sound. Fishin', fishin'. So there are two ways that it will really come out. Either completely reduced, en, or just an n sound. So we almost never say and, almost never. And that is something which will really strike an English listener as wrong. So and can become un, or very fast speech, fish and chips, fish and chips. So here is a visualization of the stress. So just as we see fish and chips, here we have a sh sound, and it links to the and, fishin', fishin', fish and chips, fish and chips. And we see that both words are stressed. Absolutely they're stressed, but not equally. And this is one of the rare instances of a weak stress in English. Many other words, but they all follow the same pattern. Bread and butter, bread and butter. So a lot of these words have meanings beyond literally what they say. So bread and butter can also mean the way that you make a living. It can mean your job. So for example, I'm a teacher. I could say teaching's my bread and butter. Teaching's my bread and butter. Fish and chips. Let's put it in a sentence to practice saying it naturally. Fish and chips, please. And when you link two things with and, we usually do the stress pattern anyway, even if it's not a binomial pair. I said fish and chips, not sausage and chips. Take a moment to practice along. You can pause the video at any moment. So, content words, right? What is a content word? Usually, they're nouns and verbs, the more important things, and they carry beats, okay? Other phrases, right? Very common phrases in English. We're going to stress the first part. Sooner, soonerer, sooner or later, sooner or later. Sooner or later means eventually something will happen. We don't know when, but we're sure it will happen. Sooner or later. Someone's angry at me. Sooner or later, they'll forgive you. So, repeat after me. Salt and pepper. Black and white. Rock and roll. More or less. So if you're not used to this sort of pattern, I recommend we do a backwards drill. That means we start on one word and then we work backwards to pronounce the whole thing. Chips and chips. Fish and chips. I'd like fish and chips, please. So let's do one drill. I say, you can repeat after me. Fish and chips. Salt and pepper. Bread and butter. Knife and fork. Bacon and eggs. I know this repetition can sound very boring, but really it's the key to making your English sound a lot more fluent. Next. Black and white. Safe and sound. Sick and tired. Short and sweet. Rough and ready. Finally, now and then. Sooner or later. Again and again. Little by little. Once and for all. Okay, often we like our binomial pairs to rhyme. Okay, you'll hear these a lot. Wear and tear. What do we mean by wear and tear? Sometimes it can mean how things get worn down over time. So old clothes might show wear and tear. Even electronics could show wear and tear. You know, maybe your phone has a poor battery life. We can say that's wear and tear. Chalk and cheese. They go together like chalk and cheese. That means it's a bad combination. Rock and roll, the type of music. Part and parcel, that means two things that always go together. Part and parcel, I would say learning vocabulary is part and parcel of learning English. Hustle and bustle means a very crowded and lively atmosphere. So, you've practiced saying these binomial pairs, but we really need to practice saying them in sentences, right? It's the next challenge to make our English sound more fluent. So I'll read the sentence, you can repeat after me. Sooner or later, we'll be sick and tired of fish and chips. Sooner or later, we'll be sick and tired of fish and chips. Okay, the next one. It was black and white, short and sweet, and safe and sound. It was black and white, short and sweet, and safe and sound. Finally, now and then, little by little, we got there in the end. Now and then, little by little, we got there in the end. So this rhythm, you can really hear it clearly if you give yourself a little clap, in case you were getting lost there. Fish and chips, fish and chips. Bread and butter, bread and butter. Sooner or later, sooner or later. So binomial pairs only have one order that they can go in. And if you make the order the other way around, it sounds really weird. Fish and chips, but we never say chips and fish. Black and white, we never say white and black. Salt and pepper, we never say pepper and salt. Sooner or later, we never say later or sooner. I know this sounds like it's not important, but in the context of speaking and real communication, as your English as a second language speakers, you might be talking and make a few grammatical mistakes in a conversation, a few pronunciation errors, and you might choose a wrong word a few times. So if you add on a little bit of confusion about your binomial pairs being in the wrong order, it will just add to the confusion of a conversation and might make it more likely the conversation break down. So it is worth paying a bit of attention to. It's not incredibly important, but I think it would be worth spending a few hours on. So, what do you think the pair is? I'll give you a moment to think. Number 1, bread and butter. Number 2, safe and sound. Number 3, sooner or later. Number 4, sick and tired. Number 5, once and for all. Again, let's practice. These are much more natural sentences that you might want to use yourself. I'm sick and tired of waiting. Sooner or later, you'll have to tell her. The meeting was short and sweet. They got home safe and sound. All you have to really remember is that there's 2 beats. That's the main point, right? Small beat, main beat. You want to reduce your and. It's never an and. So we never say fish and chips. And as you want to prepare to practice pronouncing it, say it in a whole chunk and then say it in a sentence. And then I'm sure that your speaking will improve.